This group of Indigenous leaders, we don't know whether this was the progressive no that was playing nice with yes, or whether this is the yes core that is now starting to move somewhere else. They tell us, despite the fact Australia voted as strongly as they did, you get a voice anyway. Now, obviously, it doesn't have legal standing, not in the Constitution, but the Prime Minister turned around and has said previously in the past, and I think this is one of the reasons that it started to fall, was that it'd be a brave Prime Minister to go against their advice. Now, well, there's no restrictor plate on, and it's going to be wild.
Well, why did we just spend almost $500 million then? If there was going to be a voice anyway, and I know it's not enshrined in the Constitution, but if it's just an advisory body to government, then surely that could have just been legislated.
Well, they're going to become a self-appointed lobby group that are now going to end up being the lobbying group element of what Lydia Thorpe is trying to talk about, which means either some of the people who said that they were all up for a moderate version of this, it's going to be a lot wilder. I base it off their language.
Yeah, but some of the language that we're seeing in the draft statement is very concerning. I note the word occupation that you brought up earlier. I mean, they're co-opting the language of Hamas sympathisers now. I haven't really seen that word being used previously when talking about Indigenous.
Well, again, that language is at the very fringy Lydia Thorpe stuff, where she has talked about it before. But to mainstream it in that fashion, you're correct. Particularly at this time, it's a very deliberate use of language. Nicholas, again. I understand they wanted something, they didn't get what they wanted, so now they're going to go off and do their own thing. But you know and I know the Prime Minister's not going to ignore it. The Prime Minister's not going to turn around and say, oh, sorry, it's not officially sanctioned. It's going to end up becoming some sort of a lobby group that the Prime Minister, by his own words, would be brave to go against. And it seems a lot wilder than what you voted for a couple of weeks ago.
Look, Paul, there is a lot of hurt out there in Aboriginal Australia at the moment, and so I don't know that now is the time to be firing up about the first idea that's come back post-referendum from Aboriginal leaders. I think now is the time to listen and say, yep, we're up for a conversation, because we all want to find a way of moving things forward. And so, you know, I'm trying to go to the approach we take here, and let's see what comes out of the conversation, because we do need to keep talking. I will make the point again that, you know, here in Victoria, we have a First Peoples Assembly. You might call that a voice. We wouldn't use the V word anymore, but First Peoples Assembly, it's working perfectly well. They're actually working through a truth-telling process at the moment. It's not easy, but it's the reports I hear from people involved in that process is it's going well, and ultimately they're working towards a treaty. And I think that would be a good thing, and we don't need to blow up about it. We just keep working calmly, having the conversation.
Yeah, but this is the confusing
and yet Victoria still rejected it.
We've got an Indigenous court here now. Nick, does that work?
Yeah, we've got a youth court.
You've got truth-telling, you've got a voice. Why the hell, as Caroline said, did we go and have a referendum when all of the state administrations around the country are doing this anyway?
Correct.
Well, what a waste of time. We split the country in half. We caused racial division. We've got people who won't even put their name on a letter today calling me a shameful racist.
Correct.
Oh,
and they weren't game to put their name on the letter.
So I didn't know that, Steve.
What do you mean you didn't know?
Well, I didn't know that, and obviously I don't condone that. I'm just trying to say there's a lot of hurt out there at the moment, and now's not the time to go firing up about some of these things.
Yeah, we're not the ones making claims about
on the
shameful
states,
racists.
though, that's one of the great things about Australia. We've got the states, they're laboratories of democracy. If something doesn't work somewhere, it won't continue. If it does work somewhere else,
Dan
it spreads.
Andrews' laboratory of democracy. You're kidding.